None other than Shedeur Sanders taking lead at quarterback, man. And I'm here to tell you, head coach Kevin Stefanski just wrapped up a press conference about 20 minutes ago, speaking to the world about his thoughts and pretty much what he's going to do moving forward. He really didn't say a whole lot, but guys, I'm done talking. We ain't finna waste no damn time. Let's jump right into this thing and let's pull up Kevin.
Don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin. You could feel it the second he walked up to the podium. Kevin Stefanski, the guy we've all known for years as one of the most measured, poker-faced coaches in the league, had a different look in his eyes. Sure, the stat sheet said Shedeur Sanders had a solid preseason outing. A few completions here. A couple of key third downs. Nothing that would make the national highlight reels explode. But that's not what made this moment electric. What grabbed me wasn't the numbers. It was the way Stefanski's voice shifted when he said his name. There was this half-second pause, almost like he was holding back a grin. And if you followed this team for any length of time, you know Stefanski doesn't do grins. He does next question. He does we'll watch the tape. He does we're evaluating. But here it was different. You could see it in his shoulders, hear it in the rhythm of his words. This wasn't your run-of-the-mill coach speak. This was a man trying not to tip his hand. And that's where the story gets good. Because when a coach changes his body language, it's almost always for one of two reasons. Something's gone terribly wrong, or something has gone very right. And if you were watching closely, you know exactly which one this was. Look, preseason is littered with false alarms. We've all seen it. The guy who lights up August only to disappear in September. But this didn't feel like that. This felt heavier, more deliberate, like we were watching the first quiet ripple of a wave that's about to crash over Cleveland's quarterback room. I keep replaying that moment in my head because I've been around this game long enough to know you don't get this kind of shift over nothing. Stefanski's not a hype guy. He doesn't feed the media stories unless he wants to feed them, which means this wasn't just a pat on the back for a rookie. This was a signal, a quiet, deliberate signal to the locker room, to the front office, and maybe even to the rest of the league. Pay attention to this kid. And here's the thing. When you strip away the stats, you start to see what he's really reacting to. It's the way Shedeur carried himself between plays. The way he took command in the huddle, like he's been there for years. The way he processed a defense and adjusted mid-drive, without panicking. That's the stuff that doesn't show up on the scoreboard, but every single player in that building notices. Something changed here. I don't care if you're the biggest skeptic in the world. If you've watched enough football, you know that feeling when the air shifts. When the story isn't just about today's game, but about what's coming next. And that's exactly why this moment is bigger than stats. It's not about the box score, it's about the signal. And if I'm reading Stefanski right, that signal just told us the Browns' quarterback future might have arrived sooner than anyone expected. If you've been following the Browns' quarterback carousel over the last few seasons, you know it's been a mix of stopgaps, short-term patches, and maybe this guy can hold it together for a year. Experiments. And coming into this season, it felt like more of the same. Joe Flacco, the veteran presence, the old warhorse, who can still sling it but can't outrun Father Time. Kenny Pickett, talented yes, but banged up, inconsistent, and still searching for his true NFL identity. Malik Gabriel, athletic upside, but raw and nowhere near ready to carry a team in December, let alone January. It was a depth chart that looked functional, serviceable, but nothing about it screamed future. Nothing about it made you believe Cleveland had finally cracked the code at the most important position in football. And then Shedeur Sanders walked into the room. Nobody expected him to walk in and immediately shift the tone. Nobody thought he'd be that guy, the one who would step onto the practice field, process the offense at full speed, and suddenly make everyone else look like they were a step behind. But that's exactly what happened. And here's the key. Shedeur didn't just meet the standard the Browns had for a rookie. He redefined it. He's not the break glass in case of emergency option. He's the missing puzzle piece that you didn't even realize fit until you dropped it into place, and the picture made sense. The offense just looks cleaner when he's in command. Routes develop on time. Pass protection feels steadier because the ball's getting out quicker. Receivers are fighting for extra yards because they believe the guy throwing to them can keep drives alive. And as fans, you can't help but latch on to that. Because let's be honest, we've all watched quarterbacks in Cleveland try to just survive. Shedeur's not playing like he's trying to survive. He's playing like he's trying to own the moment. That's a mindset shift this franchise has been starving for. It's also personal for him. This is a guy who heard the pre-draft noise too raw, product of his system, won't adapt to the NFL speed. Now every rep, every completion, every perfectly read blitz is another piece of evidence that he belongs. He's rewriting his own draft narrative in real time, and he's doing it in a city that's been begging for a quarterback to rally around for decades. The Browns' quarterback puzzle isn't perfect yet. There's still the looming question of how this all shakes out once the regular season hits, once defenses start game planning for him. But right now, it feels like Cleveland's future is no longer a mystery. It's wearing number in insert jersey number here, standing tall in the pocket, and throwing with a confidence this team hasn't seen in years. And if this is the new standard in Cleveland, then the entire depth chart just got rewritten. They said he couldn't handle an NFL pocket. They said he'd fold when the speed of the game closed in on him. They said his numbers in college didn't prove anything, that he was just riding a system, a name and a soft schedule. And when draft day came, they didn't just doubt him, they passed on him. Again and again, until what should have been a first-round handshake turned into a late-round afterthought. That's the thing about critics. They love receipts when they're right, but they never expect the player to start collecting receipts on them. And now here we are. The same people who said Shedeur Sanders couldn't process fast enough just watched him read a disguised blitz, adjust the protection, and hit his hot route before the defense even finished their stunt. The same analysts who said his red zone game was suspect just saw him rip a frozen rope to the back pylon. Perfect placement, perfect timing, no hesitation. This isn't just improvement. This isn't just promising signs. This is a complete rewrite of the scouting report in real time. You can see it in the way he stands in the huddle now. Not like a guy hoping to belong, but like a guy who knows it's his offense when he's in there. You can feel it in the way the offense responds to him. Routes sharper, protection nastier, playmakers fighting for extra yards because they believe the guy under center can take them somewhere. And let's not forget, the knocks against him weren't just about skill. They were about mentality. Can he handle adversity? Does he have the toughness to take NFL hits? Well, we've seen him get knocked down in practice and pop up talking trash before the defender even made it back to the huddle. We've seen him miss a throw and come right back with the same concept, threading it this time like he'd been playing chess 3 moves ahead. This is what a redemption arc looks like when it's happening in real time. It's not just proving you belong, it's making people wonder how they ever thought you didn't. It's taking every doubt, every lazy comparison, every label, and shattering it on the field for everyone to see. And if you think this is as far as it goes, you're missing the point. This isn't the peak. This is just the moment the critics lost control of the narrative. Because if Shedeur Sanders keeps doing this, keeps stacking these kinds of reps, these kinds of moments, the story isn't going to be about how far he fell in the draft. It's going to be about how the rest of the league let the Browns steal the future of their franchise while everyone else was too busy doubting. And something tells me he's just getting started. You know, people love to talk about talent, arm strength, footwork, mechanics, and sure, all of that matters. But what separates a good quarterback from a franchise quarterback? It's what happens when the cameras are off. And this is where Shedeur Sanders is starting to show why he might just be the guy in Cleveland. I'm talking about the late nights in the facility when everyone else is gone. The extra film sessions that aren't on the schedule, where he's sitting there rewinding the same play 10 times, not because the coach told him to, but because he has to see it until it makes sense. The moments after practice when other guys are heading to their cars, and he's still on the field throwing routes, not to star receivers, but to equipment managers, just so he can get one more rep, one more feel for the timing. That's not hype, that's hunger. And when you watch him on the sideline, he's not scrolling through plays half-focused. He's locked in, taking mental reps like his life depends on it. Standing next to Stefanski, reading the defense before the snap, calling out what he thinks is coming. Sometimes he's right, sometimes he's wrong. But every time he's learning. We've seen this before with the greats. Kurt Warner stocking shelves before becoming a Super Bowl MVP. Tony Romo coming in undrafted and taking over the Cowboys. Even Tom Brady, 6th-round pick, 4th on the depth chart, just biding his time until opportunity knocked. And when it did, he was ready. That's what this feels like with Shedeur. A guy who refuses to let circumstance dictate his ceiling. A guy who's building his moment before the moment even gets here. And here's the thing. You can't fake this kind of work ethic. You can fake hype. You can fake swagger. But you can't fake staying late, studying longer, or grinding harder when nobody's watching. That's the quiet work that shows up when the lights come on. That's the part of greatness we don't see on the highlight reels, but it's the reason highlight reels even happen. So yeah, some people still think this is just a feel-good preseason storyline. Just another camp body making a little noise. But I'm telling you, this isn't hype. This is earned. And the way things are lining up, the rest of the league might not realize it yet. But Cleveland, they just might be witnessing the birth of something special. This isn't just another quarterback storyline. This isn't just about a rookie making a little noise in camp. This could be the moment we look back on and say, that's when everything changed for the Cleveland Browns. Think about it. For decades, Cleveland has been defined by instability under center. A carousel of names. A revolving door of maybe this is the guy moments that never truly stuck. And now, sitting right in front of them is a player who might not just steady the ship, he might set it sailing into waters this franchise hasn't seen in generations. If Shedeur Sanders takes this momentum and translates it to Sundays, the ripple effect is massive. Suddenly, defenses aren't stacking the box against Nick Chubb. They're worried about getting burned over the top. Suddenly, Amari Cooper has the freedom to work without constant double coverage. Suddenly, this offense isn't grinding for every inch. It's dictating games. But here's the thing. It's not just about the X's and O's. It's about belief. It's about a city that's been kicked down so many times finally standing up and saying, we've got our guy.
It's about a locker room realizing that they're not just playing to survive another season, they're playing to make history. You can feel it in the way the veterans are watching him. You can see it in the way the coaches are talking just a little differently. It's subtle, but it's there. That shift from "let's see what he can do" to "we might have something special here." And that's why I'm saying this is a now or never moment for Cleveland. You don't stumble across players with this mix of poise, work ethic, and chip on their shoulder every year. You don't just bury them on the depth chart and hope they wait their turn. You seize it. You lean into it. Because if the Browns do this right, if they recognize what's in their hands before it's too late, we could be talking about the draft steal of the decade. We could be talking about the moment that reshaped the entire trajectory of this franchise. And I'll say it right now on record, you're going to remember this moment. You're going to remember where you were when you first started to believe. Because this is about more than football. This is about resilience. This is about proving the doubters wrong. This is about a team, a city, and a quarterback, all deciding together that enough is enough. The story of Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland is still being written. But if it ends the way I think it can, we might just be watching the first chapter of the Browns' redemption story.